Hi guys, welcome back to another video here on Our Rise Your Eyes. In this video I'm going to tell you my thoughts regarding the last movie of Makoto Shinkai called Suzume no Tojimari. But before starting this video I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, leave a like to support me, and feel free to follow me because from now on it will happen that you find some reviews. I will just tell you my thoughts on this channel regarding anime movies, anime and many other things, so stay tuned and keep on watching me. Before telling you my thoughts regarding this movie, I wanted to show you once again, as much as you could see from the short, that I published the booklet of Suzume no Tojimari, in which you find a long interview to Makoto Shinkai. Look, I showed you already all the pages inside, so go and check it out. And maybe when I will finish reading this long interview, I will be here telling you my thoughts about it. But anyway, this was really inspirational. By reading this interview, I could understand Makoto more, to be honest, especially when he was talking about the fact that he's growing old and even his tastes are changing, are becoming deeper than the previous movies, and I totally agree with this because throughout this movie you will experience some deep thoughts and you can even dig yourself in order to reach the goal, the message of the author. So I really wanted to suggest you watching this movie, guys, because if you like the Kimi no Nawa, Your Name, or if you like the Tenki no Ko that is Weathering with You, you can't hate this movie. I think you will absolutely love it. And from my first definition, I wanted to say it honestly to you that in my opinion this is the best Makoto Shinkai movie so far. I've watched many other movies from him, but this movie made it. It really touched my heart, and I think that it will touch your heart too deeply, so feel free to watch it and enjoy it. I know that in your case it will come out in 2023 thanks to Crunchyroll, because they had the rights on it, but I really suggest Crunchyroll to help you watching it at the cinema, because as you all know, one thing is watching a movie at the cinema and one thing is to watch it at home. So please, Crunchyroll, do me this favor, give them the chance to watch the movie at the cinema, because it really deserves. Graphically speaking, you know that Makoto Shinkai is always making a great masterpiece, and visually speaking you can't deny the fact that he's really good. This time I have to say that I put the graphic on the second spot, on the second level, because to me the story and the meaningful thoughts that Makoto Shinkai put in this movie were more important, definitely. No matter if it was thanks to details or just telling you the story as it was, I think that he really made it this time. And if people say that there's no meaning in this movie, or that it's really difficult to understand where Makoto wants to go with this movie, I simply don't agree. I think that especially in this movie you can understand the message of the author at the end of the movie really easily, and you don't need to stay there thinking about what are the things that Makoto wanted to tell me. No, absolutely not. So be ready to sit, enjoy and watch this incredible movie. You know that even in the previous times when I was analyzing even a Tenki no Ko, I was telling you that I really liked that movie, and sometimes Makoto Shinkai has this strange style in which he's putting many different things together, and he is not explaining everything properly, so you have to stay there and try to understand if there is a meaning or not. No, in this case it didn't happen to me, and so I really suggest you to give it a chance and try to see Makoto in a different way, especially thanks to this movie. But before jumping right into the movie and my thoughts, I wanted to tell you from now on that I will put some spoilers. So if you don't want to proceed with this video, it's fine. You can skip it and you can come back one day when you'll be able to watch the movie. I will not feel offended at all. So do your things, and if you want to watch the movie first in order to get your thoughts and then come back here, watch it and tell me if your thoughts are the same, feel free to do that. In the case you wanted to know anyway what's happening in the movie, stay tuned and keep on watching me and go ahead watching this video. Also because on the thumbnail I put already spoilers alert, so you are warned already. By the way, if I have to introduce this movie with a specific sentence, I would like to use this one. Close a door before opening a new one. In fact, even in the poster of the movie, the main one, but even in the trailers, you could see this door that is in the middle of a square. It seems like a square, but later you understand that in this movie you're talking about abandoned place. I really like this choice, sincerely. First of all, because I really like Haikyuu, that is abandoned places. I mean, they have some sort of fascinating aura on me. I really like sometimes to travel and look when I am inside a car, for example, and I can see some abandoned places over there while looking out of the window. I'm like, wow, this amazes me. So the fact that Makoto Shinkai decided for this movie, this main theme, abandoned spots, abandoned places, and the background story behind them, that's something that really amazed me, and it's already a thumbs up, sincerely. But yeah, this door that is in the middle of this abandoned scene is really meaningful. From the trailer, to be honest, I thought, what's that? I mean, even the fact that there is even a chair that is talking and the cat that is talking, I was like, oh, come on, this movie is too fantasy, in my opinion, because how can you match all of these things? But if I have to be honest, everything matched perfectly. The door that has to be closed forever in order to start a new chapter of your life. I think, yeah, this is the best description. And throughout the movie, you find many doors that needed to be closed because they belong to the past. They belong to previous events, previous catastrophes, previous things that can be evil or not, but it's just called the past. And sometimes we rely on the past because we feel really nostalgic, because there is still something attached to us that tells us that it's better to keep that door open, and it's really hard sometimes to close that door because of this attachment, because we have something unsolved. And that's the case of Suzume, because the main protagonist has something unsolved, something that she needs to clear up, something that she has to confront, something that she has to face in order to get rid of it and to step ahead, to go ahead with her life. And I think that everything was possible thanks to this meeting, thanks to this encounter that she had one day with Sota, with this man that is appearing in her life, that is jumping right into her life while she is going to school in a normal day, sometimes we have some special encounters, something that the destiny is putting in front of us because it's really useful, because we really need to meet somebody in order to face maybe something that happened to us in the past. And maybe this meeting that is happening in front of us is telling us, look, that person will help you to discover more about you, to guide you to the exit of this door and to close it forever. Yeah, that's what's happening to Suzume, actually, because since the beginning of the movie you see this dream that Suzume is having, and in this dream you can see her little version. I mean, she's really young, she's little, a little girl, and she's desperately running towards an answer because she really needs to find an answer, and this answer belongs to her mother's destiny because she disappeared. She doesn't know where she is, and she desperately wants to find her, even now that she's dreaming of her, even now that she's dreaming about herself trying to find her. And this is really nice, guys. In the movie, it's well detailed, it's well explained, the suffering of Suzume, because you see that she doesn't have a dad. I mean, she doesn't have a father, she doesn't have a mother at this point because she lives with her aunt who adopted her. And that makes you understand that Suzume throughout all these years understood the loneliness and accepted it. Even if she's living with her aunt and her aunt is really nice to her and she's really present, she really wants to be her second mom, Suzume feels that there's something missing. And she's trying her best to find an answer throughout all those years. But before meeting Sota, these thoughts about her mom were only visible through dreams. And sometimes she was having those dreams because, the consciousness, our consciousness and our subconscious thoughts are more important than other things. Most of the times we also make dreams related to the past or related to our dear people, and these dreams are the reflection of our emotions, our state of mind. Sometimes we can feel scared, we can feel anxious, we can feel that something evil is coming, or something is telling us through a dream that it's anticipating something that is going to happen. And let me tell you, this first initial dream that Suzume is having in the movie anticipates that something is going to happen in her life, that this missing point about her mom maybe will have a solution, maybe it's going to be solved. And yeah, I really liked that thing that Makoto Shinkai decided to portray in this movie, because I also believe in dreams. I don't think that dreams are something that is just a portrait of our mind, but it can be even anticipation of something that is happening really soon to us. Or it's a reflection of our mind. It's a reflection of our feelings and emotions, but it's also something that can predict something, or something that can be the contrary thing of what we dream. So this power of the dreams that is suggesting us something mysterious. Yeah, I really like this mysterious tone of this movie till the end, and you can experience mixed feelings in this movie, because Suzume is taking you to a personal journey in order to find this answer that she needs, and you are facing this journey too, because come on guys, I think that we all have something unsolved in our lives, right? Something that we still have to find an answer for, or something that we already have the answer for that, but we still wanted to dig inside ourselves to feel better, to find the way to close that chapter. And that's what's happening to Suzume. So we are all Suzume-chan. I think that we can reflect ourselves in her steps in order to find those answers. But Makoto is always telling us another important thing, that we can't do this thing by ourselves. I think Suzume was trying to find these answers always by herself, always guided by her feelings and her intuition, her dreams, yeah. But it's not enough. She needs other people to solve this enigma and to understand more about what's missing in her mind. It can be something unsolved because it was not told, or because she doesn't remember. That it's another great point. You will see that Suzume is having a big trauma in this life she had, and the more she's going ahead with her journey, the more she's remembering things until this trauma is completely solved. You know, it's like when you are having amnesia and you completely forget everything that happened because of a trauma. It can be a physical trauma, it can be a psychological trauma, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's a trauma, and in order to solve it, it takes time. And second of all, you need maybe people's help, because it's a thanks to what people remember about you, or it's a thanks to people who wanted to help you in this journey that you probably can remember things. And Suzume has this great help from Sota, this man, but not just from him. You will see that throughout the journey that she's making, she's helped even by a cat that is talking, and you will understand why. I mean, later I'm going to explain you the important role that this talking cat has in Suzume's life. And you know also the fact that Makoto likes to combine mythology or religion with the movie itself. It happened even with The Weathering with You, or even with this mythological thought of the Akaito, this red string that is connecting two people forever, no matter the distance. Yeah, in this movie, we are talking about something really, really serious. And that means the past and its evil reminiscence. I mean, the fact that sometimes the past collected some negative events happened, and these negative things happened can be stuck even in the present. And that's why the door is really important, because the door is like an opening, but even an ending, and it's up to you what you wanted to do. I mean, you want to keep that door open, and that means feel the same sorrow, the same stuck feelings even in the present, or you decided to close this door and to move forward. It's really hard as a decision to make because of what I told you before. That means if you still have something unsolved in your mind, it's not easy to close the door forever, right? So you will see throughout this movie that there are lots of doors to be closed, and it's a thanks to Sota. Sota is a particular character because he appears out of nowhere in Suzume's life. I told you she was going to school, and one day, while she's riding her bicycle, she's seeing in front of her eyes this beautiful man that is looking all around himself, and he's jumping right into her life. And the first thing that she's saying is that he's really handsome. Yeah, he really is. But in that moment in which he is looking at him, she's understanding that that meeting is not a coincidence. It's not something casual, something that can happen randomly to all of us, but it's an important meeting. It's an important encounter that it's going to help her somehow. It's like when you're facing destiny and you're saying, oh, it's destiny that I met that man. It's not a coincidence at all. And in fact, we will understand the importance of Sota later, because first of all, he's asking her if she knows some abandoned spots over there around her city. We are talking about the Kyushu area, especially Kagoshima. And over there are lots of abandoned places, even in the rest of Japan, of course. But in that place, I mean, in that area of Japan, it happens many times that you are able to see abandoned places. Look, in my personal experience throughout the trips that I made, I have to tell you that you can find abandoned places almost everywhere. But let's say that Makoto decided to focus on this particular area in Japan at this time. By the way, Sota is asking if she knows some abandoned places, and Suzume remembers that, yeah, there is one place that nobody goes there anymore, because there is even the writing, you can't step inside this place. As always, Japanese people, they put these big plates like outside from the suicide forest, for example. You find the same sign that it's written, you can't step ahead, you can't go inside more than this. And Suzume is suggesting him this place, and then she's separating from him. I mean, they're not talking too much. He's just asking this question, but the great way in which Makoto is representing this encounter as a matter of destiny, that he is usual to do so. I mean, the two people that are meeting like this, and then there is suddenly Sota that is asking this question. I really like this thing, because I really believe that things are not happening for nothing, that everything is not a coincidence in our life. And if something happens, is because it's a happening and we have to face it. Or maybe it's a sign from destiny that we need to step ahead on that path, because that path is taking us to something anyway, no matter if it's something good or something bad. Everything is useful for us, because it's thanks to evil things or bad things that we can experience, that we can grow, that we can become better than before. And it's thanks to good things that we can remind ourselves that life is good, that we did the right choice. That was a beautiful encounter. And then Suzume is going ahead. I mean, she's riding her bicycle until suddenly she is following her instinct. That means let's follow him, let's see where he is going. So she's turning her bicycle back and she's trying to reach him. But let's say that it's thanks to this decision that everything will start, that Suzume's journey is starting for real. And as you can see, thanks to these little things, your life can drastically change. And that's what's happening to Suzume, because it's after she decides to reach that man once again that she's literally making a step after step towards the goal she needs to reach. That means that missing part of her life. While she is reaching that abandoned place, she is trying to search for that man over and over again, but she can't find him. So the best thing is to try to call for him and see if he can respond, but she is not having any response at all. So finally she's reaching that door in the middle of I think that place was a sort of theater or something, because it was really big. It was like a sort of venue or something, and everything is falling apart because of course it's an abandoned place and it's pretty dangerous. There are people who like to explore abandoned places, but most of the times they need to remember that it's really dangerous to step over there. So if you like to do things like this, you have to be really cautious and watch your steps, because you can fall suddenly and you don't even know what to do next. But this is a fantasy movie, so it's okay. Suzume finds herself in front of that door, and she feels, as much as when she was meeting Sota, she's feeling that there's something strange with that door, that it's like as if that door is calling for her because she needs to find her answers over there by opening that door or by getting in touch with it. So she definitely thinks that she's attracted by it, and I like these things too, because in our lives it happens that we are attracted by a person or by an object or by something we see when we are randomly walking on the street. I mean, there is something that is catching our attention, right? And something that tells us, okay, that thing or that person can tell me something maybe more about myself, or something that I still have to discover about the world. I really like the moment in which Suzume, in a very still way, is trying to reach that door. First of all, because that door is surrounded by water, and she was having this uniform, school uniform, because she was going to school. I was telling you about this to you. So she is risking a little bit. She is saying, what am I going to do? Am I going to reach that door? But if I reach that door, it means that I have to get my shoes wet. I have to get my feet wet. So which one should I choose? And then she's choosing to step forward and to go ahead to reach that door. So I really like the moment in which they are showing us the detail in which Suzume is putting her feet underwater, because this tells you that something is going to happen, but also because you have to dig more, to go deep down yourself and deep down a situation in order to understand more about you. I also like the fact that she didn't have any problem to get her shoes wet. Usually when we find water, we don't want to step inside the water with our shoes, because we think that our shoes are important. They are the things that help us walking outside, and in that case it's like as if we wanted to go against the limits, because it doesn't matter if our shoes are getting wet or are getting dirty. If the goal is more important than the rest of the things, that's what matters. And that's why I really like Suzume as a character, because she's really brave, and even if she was initially scared about what was happening, later she found the right confidence to reach the door and to approach it, to face it, and to see what was going to happen. So this beautiful white door that is in front of her and it's in the middle of this scenario is super amazing. I really like that, because even if from our perspective it seems that there is nothing behind that door, and of course there is nothing behind that door, our dreamy selves tells us, what if I open the door and there is another dimension, there is something else. Look, I like these things. Here in Japan, sometimes next to some locations, or even if you walk on the street and you go next to the shopping areas or whatever, you sometimes see doors that take you to nowhere. Doors that on the other side don't have anything. They are called tomason, and this is something really common here in Japan. You can find definitely doors or stairs that are taking to nowhere and they are blocked. That means that something was built after, and that door is staying over there for nothing. No matter if it's a fence or something like that, they stay over there, and people keep them over there even if they are meaningless. This door is a little bit mystic. I found this mystic vision, these mystic feelings inside this movie more than the others. Also because next to this door there is a sort of piece of wood that resembles a cat. In fact, when she's grabbing this wooden plate, she's looking at it and she finds it pretty strange. But immediately after, she is seeing that this thing is moving. and suddenly this wooden piece is turning into a cat, a real cat, and then it's going away from her. So she's seeing that thing and she's quite scared because she doesn't understand if she's crazy or not. The typical moment in which the character is doubting about her mental health. And later we will discover that this wooden plate, this wooden statue that was next to the door, it's called kanameishi, and this kanameishi thing is really essential for you to understand even the other parts of the movie. Kanameishi is that sort of guardian, let's say, that you can find in front of a door, or like in the case of temples, guys, you see that there are always two foxes sometimes, that they are representing the guardians of the temple. That the wooden plate or that wooden statue of that cat that was there next to that door was a sort of a protection or a sort of a guardian to step away from that door, because maybe if you open that door, something scary, something bad can happen. So usually the kanameishi is that figure that is protecting you from opening a door or from stepping ahead. And that's why when this statue is transforming into a real cat, because it's touched by Suzume, she feels so surprised, but at the same time she doesn't mind, and anyway she is opening this door. And as you could see from the trailer, when she's opening that door, it seems as if she is going into another dimension, and she's having this reaction as if she is surprised, but at the same time it's like as if she's remembering this fragment in which she's opening the door. It's like as if in her mind everything is already portrayed, but she just needed to figure things out more and deeply. But then yeah, of course, if we follow our instincts, guys, we wanted to step inside this door because it's opening this magical world, this magical dimension that you don't know what's after. So usually human beings are curious and they are fascinated. So at the same time, you wanted to explore, you wanted to go inside this door to see where you go. Suzume is trying, but she can't do that. She is automatically going on the other side of the door, where there is nothing, where there is just the other side as it should be. So she's trying multiple times, but she can't go there. So just remember these, guys. The fact that Suzume can't go now, it's because she still needs more things on her side to try to reach that place. It means now it's not the time. Now it's not the proper time to do something like this. Maybe later. You need something else in order to be able to reach this goal. So I really liked that thing too, because it seems that that area beyond that door, it's not accessible just because you want, just because you think that it's now the right time to do it. No, something else in the future will tell you that that time will be the time to reach that place. And this is connected also to Suzume's dreams, because as much as I was telling you, she was dreaming this little girl that was running, that she was desperate, and that means that maybe that world beyond that door is what she really needs to reach the answer. So that's the place she needs to reach, but not now. She's going away because she's scared, because she's not explaining to herself what's happening, and she's reaching her school. I mean, she's meeting her friends and she's going ahead with what she had to do. So she was like, okay, maybe this strange episode happened in my life, but we can go ahead. Until while there's this school break of 1 hour, maybe it was lunchtime, yeah, I guess so. Suzume is seeing something outside the window. and it's something terrifying. It's like as if it's a long extended finger, red finger. It's like as if this monster, this creature that is appearing outside, that is floating in the air, or anyway that it's expanding more and more and more. It's creating in Suzume the vision of something terrible that is happening. But there is a problem, guys. All the other people can't see anything, and this thing, this red extension, let's say, is connected somehow to earthquakes. I mean, every time that this thing is appearing and Suzume can see it, an earthquake is about to happen, an earthquake is coming. But of course, other people can't see it. So she is immediately connecting this ability that she has with the place that she was before. That means the place of that door, because something has to be connected, because before this nothing happened. Her life was still was easy, was as always, right? But after that event things were changing, so definitely something happened. Then suddenly she decided to reach that place once again, but in that circumstance she's finding Sota over there trying to close that door. So immediately she's understanding that there is somebody else that knows the same thing that she saw, probably through that door, because she's not the only one at this point. And second of all, she's really happy to meet Sota again, because that's what her first initial purpose was, to try to find him back, because something told her that he could be important in her life. She's seeing that he's trying to close that door, so immediately, instantly, she's trying to help him. But Sota is refusing her help. He is really angry because he doesn't understand why she's there at that time. But she is explaining that she wanted to know more about this thing and what was going to happen, while Sota, in that case, is asking her, are you not scared of what you're seeing? And she's saying, no, I'm not scared, because to be honest with you guys, Suzume is a person that is really brave, but she is also discouraged. I mean, she is a person that has nothing to lose anymore, because of what I told you. Her family condition is a disaster, except for the fact that she has a great aunt that is like a second mom to her. But before her aunt, her past told her that she is without parents, and this sadness by not having parents made her become as if she's not scared of anything anymore, because there's nothing to lose, okay? Everything is so still to her, and that there's nothing to be scared of. Later, guys, we will approach more with Sota's character, because we understand that the Sota is a Tojishi. Tojishi means a person that has to do something in particular. In this case, Sota is a Tojishi that has to close the doors. And this sort of job that he has is going ahead from generation to generation. So Sota's family, and even Sota's grandparents, Sota's grandparents were doing the same thing. It's something that has to go, that has to pass from generation to another. And yeah, I think Makoto used this Tojishi thing because here in Japan it's really important to transmit things from generation to generation and to perpetrate this activity over and over again through generations. It's something that it's like a sort of tradition that families have, but I think even in the rest of the world, you know, it's like as if you have a restaurant and that restaurant is owned first by the grandparent, and then by the grandparents, and then by the nephews or the nieces. So it's something that makes you understand the importance of generations, the way in which they are tremending things over and over again. This is something that I like too, because it's like as if we are the mirror of the previous generations. And sometimes when I say something like this, it's referring to something bad, like in many other examples, when we shouldn't repeat the same mistakes of the previous generations, for example. But in some other times, I believe that it's really nice to perpetrate these traditions, to let them go from one generation to the other one, because it's the way in which we are also thinking about who we are. It's like as if thanks to these things that are passing from one generation to the other one can reflect where we come from, can reflect our origins, the way in which we are, why we are like this, who we are, where do we come from. This is something that I really like. So Sota is going ahead with this job over and over again, and he's really proud of it, and he is saying that he's the only one who can do this. I mean, other people from other families, I mean, for example, Suzume, can't do this job. It's reflecting Japanese traditions, I mean, Japanese culture, because even here in Japan there are families that they are handling wood or fisheries, and only those families can do that. Other families or other people coming from outside of these families can't, or let's say that they are not seen as someone good, because it's like as if they are ruining, right, their environment, what they created. But yeah, in this case, Sota has this strange job to close doors. So Suzume is not crazy. Suzume is not the only one who was seeing that thing, but even Sota did. So she's understanding that there's something that has to be told, something that she needs to discover more and more. And let me connect myself with what I was telling you at the beginning of this video. Closing the doors to open others, or at least to close with the past and go ahead with the present time. Later you will understand that this red thing that is appearing, that is coming out from these doors, and it's trying to reach the sky, or at least to go up on all the population, and that is also connected to earthquakes. It's reflecting, let's say, the evil past things, the evil things that are still stuck in the present, as much as I was telling you. So the way in which Sota is trying to close the door and making this sort of a spell, thanks also to a key, it's his job, but it's reflecting the way in which he's closing the door, so these evil things can't go out anymore, and they are just part of the past once for all. I wanted to remark this. Sometimes these past things are not just reflecting something bad, but even something good. It can be a good memory or something like that. But in this movie specifically, is always referring to something evil. In fact, this thing is also read to remark that it's an evil thing that has to be erased, and the only way in which they can erase it is just yes, as much as I was telling you, Sota that is saying that spell, and it's closing the door with that special key that he has. Yeah, later you understand that the more they are closing doors, thanks to this Suzume's journey, the more they are understanding that it's related to a catastrophe. It can be a catastrophe that happened 100 years before in Tokyo, where there was the great earthquake, or in a more recent vision, the great earthquake of Tohoku area in 2011. That is the catastrophe that is well analyzed by Makoto Shinkai in this movie. I mean, I really liked the fact that Makoto Shinkai decided to pay attention on this huge and catastrophical event that happened in 2011, because this event changed the Japanese population. After that event, Even Japan is more cautious about great earthquakes and the ability that we should develop in order to prevent events, drastic events like these, because you need to remember that catastrophe was not due to an earthquake only, but there was even a great tsunami happening a little bit later that caused most of the people their lives, because many people died especially because of the tsunami. I really like the way in which these events are also connected to these mystical things of these tojishi, these people who have to close this door and keep those evil things shut, closed. Instantly, Sota didn't want Suzume to get in touch with these doors, and he didn't want her to open these doors because they are threatening her. Maybe they are taking her to something evil, to a dark place, to somewhere that she's not going to go because she doesn't belong to that past events, and she's not belonging to that evil matters. But Suzume anyway is attracted by it because it's what I told you before. There's something missing in her life, something that has to be solved, and that's why she's attracted by these things. Not because she really wants to belong to evil things, but something tells her that she has to solve things, and it's thanks to these doors that she can. So let's say that Suzume, little by little, is starting a journey, also because of the cat that I told you before, because now that Sota and Suzume are talking more than before, and at a certain point they are meeting at Suzume's house, because Suzume is saying, look, I'm going to take you to my house for a little bit so you can explain me more about what's going on with these doors and stuff like that. But in that moment in which they are at home, at Suzume's home, that cat is appearing in front of them, and the cat is talking to Suzume as if he has a deep connection to her, or maybe he was waiting her to reach that door because probably Suzume could have had her answers, the answers that she is waiting for such a long time. The cat doesn't like Sota. So the cat is transforming Sota into a chair. In that moment of the movie, I was like, what? I mean, why? But then there is a great explanation for that. I mean, we understand that Sota's human form will not come back until the end of the movie. And you also understand that everything that this cat is doing is not meaningless. It's made because of a purpose, it's made because of a reason. From now on, Suzume and Sota, who is transformed into a chair, have to start their journey because the cat is disappearing. I mean, it's going away and it's running so fast that they can't catch him. And at the same time, Suzume wants answers, so she wants to follow that cat. At the same time, the chair, that means Sota, needs to find the cat because he wants to go back to his human form. So everything is connected, guys, and later you will understand the importance of that chair, because that chair is connected to Suzume's mom. And you'll see that Suzume's mom was making that chair to Suzume as a birthday present for her. So you see always these flashbacks in which you understand the importance of that chair related to Suzume. But by the way, as I told you, the cat transformed Sota in that specific chair, not because it was a circumstance that it was happening over there, not because it was a coincidence, but because there is a deep meaning, and because it will be thanks to Sota that is transformed into that chair that Suzume will be able to reach her goal. That means that missing point in her life. By the way, throughout this journey, because you'll see that, of course, they have to reach that cat once again, so they are traveling quite a lot through Japan. I mean, Suzume and this chair, that is Sota, are traveling from Kagoshima to Ehime, and then they are moving to Kobe, and then they are reaching Tokyo, also because Sota comes from Tokyo. And this journey, it's not just an adventure that Suzume is doing physically speaking, because she's moving from one place to the other one, and I open a bracket. When her aunt is discovering that she's appeared and she's on the other side of Japan, she is getting crazy, and she's trying her best to come and reach her and bring her back home. But that's another thing. I close the bracket because later you will understand why. Yes, this journey Suzume is making is also a psychological journey, because she is growing. The more she's experiencing things, the more she's meeting other people, the more she is independent, the more she is reaching the way in which she wants to be. That means she wants to live her life, she wants to experience things, she wants to grow. I mean, this theme of the adventure that can let you grow, that is always present in all animation, in all anime, in all animation movies, everywhere. I mean, this concept is super important, because it can let you understand that without experiences, you can't grow. You are always staying there where you are, and you are trying to find answers that you can't find because you need experience. You need to step out from your door, to step out from your house and start something that you have never started, or because of other people's limitations, or because you were scared too much about trying to do something that you don't know. I mean, the scaring part of the unknown that is always terrorizing us, but you need that 1% of courage to step out and to try something new, to try something that you have never done before, even if it's hilarious, even if it's something creepy, even if it's something that you have never expected in your life. The way in which you go beyond your limits to try to experience something that you have never done before. In the case of Suzume, is to try to take a boat to reach the other shore on the other side of Japan, or to reach other places by trying to following this cat, because now they are trying to catch it, but they can't. The more they go ahead, the more they can't. Throughout this journey, she is trying to meet new people, to become friends with them, also because this refers to the main subject. That means you can't do things by yourself. By not making things by yourself, you can be helped at the same time. And I really liked this moment in which Makoto is describing this, the need of somebody else's help in order to reach what you wanted to reach. Because Suzume is really brave, is courageous, and she's not presumptuous to think that she can do everything by herself. No, she really needs the help of others. Even just to give you an example, even to spend a night outside her house. The fact that she's meeting new people, and the fact that this journey is made also thanks to these people, makes you understand that it's a metaphor of life. Because in our life too, in order to reach the level that we are about to reach, we needed to experience things. We needed to be helped by others, or we have to confront others to understand how we can improve ourselves and how can we change. Because if you always stay in the same place forever, surrounded by the same environment, you will never change. So this way in which he's explaining that you should go beyond your limits and try to step away from the routine, step away from the usual habits that you have, step away from who you were before in order to reach your new self, your new acknowledgement, the way in which you are understanding who you are, thanks to a journey that is not just physical, as much as I was telling you, but it's even psychological. And this really matters. By the way, they are trying to reach this cat that in the movie it seems to be so evil, because it's always trying to put them in dangerous situations, and the more they are closing other doors, because of these examples of this red thing that is appearing in the sky and it's producing earthquakes automatically, also because people, common people, can't see all these things except for Suzume and Sota, and even the cat, of course. They reach a moment in which Sota is confined in that dimension, because in that specific moment Sota is trying to help Suzume, so Suzume can go out from that dimension while Sota can't. And Sota is stuck in that place, in that dimension, with this red evil thing that is appearing. And later we understand that the Sota, thanks to the cat, became a Kanameishi. That is the same thing that the cat was before Suzume arrived in front of the first door at the beginning of the movie. So let's say that it's like as if the cat wanted Sota to become this guardian or protection of Suzume against this evil thing that is trying to come out from a door. It can be all doors possible, but it's like the metaphor of the door as a door that it's opening to something else, to another world, to something that you have to face, or to something that is coming from the past that has to be shut. I wanted to say another thing regarding these things of the earthquake. I think Makoto Shinkai decided to focus on this theme also because when catastrophes are coming, and you can't expect them because you don't have the power to predict them, like in the case of earthquakes or tsunamis or whatsoever. What I really liked and what was really emotional in this movie was those scenes in which you see these people before the catastrophe happens, when they are having their peaceful life, when they are having their routine, when they are not even paying attention of what might happen later because they don't know, they can't anticipate it. And you see these little cameo scenes in which you see these people going out from their doors and say, "Ittekimasu, I'm going," but you don't know that after you close that door, that person is going to die and he or she can't go back anymore. I really liked those moments throughout the movie because Suzume, thanks to her dreams that she keeps having throughout the journey that I told you from Kagoshima to Tokyo, she is always feeling as if that untold thing that she has to reach is regarding her mom. And that's why she's always seeing this female figure in front of her that is really, really little, looking at this figure and saying, "Mama, is that you?" And this female figure in front of her that is an adult, let's say, she's handling that chair that was her birthday present. So she believes that that's her mom, even if she is really little, that she can't see the face of this adult female figure in front of her. But it's like as if this unsolved thing regards her mom's life, and everything that happened to her, because you know, I told you her mother disappeared and she has this sort of a blackout. I mean, Suzume, it's like as if she doesn't remember what happened, or she's visionating things that she thinks that didn't happen, but later we discover the contrary. So this is related to what I told you. This is related to these people who are losing their lives, maybe in a catastrophe, and before that, before this catastrophe happens, you don't know that it's going to happen. We are not going to face our destiny until we are confronting it for real, with our own eyes. And I really liked that moment in which all these people that we're experiencing this catastrophe, and that they are creating this red evil creature, evil big and long finger appearing in the sky, are still feeling, because it's like as if no matter if these people died in these catastrophes, they are still a part of the present time. They are stuck there because that's where the catastrophe happened. And it's like as if this evil event that was taking with it all these people dying doesn't want to go away, wants to stay. And if you wanted to see it in a different way, it's like when evil wants to go against good. It's this contrast of opposites that always happens, and the good wants to conquer evil, wants to defeat evil. But this red thing represents all the people who died, who don't want to be forgotten, who don't want to go away. It's like as if this stuck presence of this evil energy that was collected thanks to this catastrophe doesn't want to go away. And these also can be referred to the people who don't want to go away because they still believe that even if they are in another dimension right now, because they are physically gone, they want to stay there because they think that that's their place, while it's not true, because now that they are gone, these people have to reach the other dimension. Their energy have to go away, otherwise they're going to be stuck, and they're going to affect the energy that it's in the present time. I really liked this theme because people who believe in spirits, people who believe in energy of dear people who are gone, that are still there, that are stuck and they can't go on the other side, believe something like this. There are some evil presence or even good presence that they are still stuck and they need a key, they need a way, a portal to be open, to go back where they should be now, because physically they are gone, they are not here anymore. And I like how Makoto was representing these over and over again to let you understand that sometimes we are also stuck into a memory, we are also stuck in the past, and we should cut the ties and we should go ahead. By the way, as much as I was telling you, Sota is over there and is stuck inside in the other dimension. So Suzume, for the first time, understands the importance of Sota, because Sota, throughout the time he is spending as a chair, he is also experiencing the way in which he can die. Because by being transformed into a chair, there is the changing from a human being to a material thing. And when you become a material thing, you're no more human. So you become cold, you become without feelings, you are freezing. And you see, in fact, that Makoto is representing this loss of humanity with Sota as a chair becoming frozen. This process that is happening little by little while he's spending time with Suzume as a chair, it's happening most of the times when he's falling asleep, because when Suzume has to go to bed or he or she has to sleep, even the chair, even Sota needs to sleep. And while he is sleeping, it's like as if by losing his consciousness, this process of freezing is increasing so much that it's like as if, he's transforming little by little into a real chair, but he doesn't want to do that. He still wants to be a human being, and he still wants to go back to his human figure. All these times in which he can come back a little bit, by still being a chair, but by still having a little percent of humanity, it's when Suzume is scrolling the chair and he is waking him up, without Suzume understanding what's happening to Sota, because Sota is not explaining this to her, but Sota is living these uncomfortable feelings while he's a chair, and these scary thoughts of not being able to go back to a human being anymore, that is affecting him so much that he's losing even the ability to express these scary feelings to her, also because he doesn't want to scare her more than what she is. But I really like all the way in which Makoto Shinkai is explaining this fear that people have when they are encountering the moment in which they have to lose their humanity. It's like when people are scared to die. Most of the people are scared of death, and they don't want to face it because they always wanted to try to find a way to be alive and to be immortal, even if we can't. But they are not accepting death as a step of our journey. That's something that we can't change. In this case, even Sota is doing something like this. he is scared, and there are times in which he is accepting maybe the fact that he can't go back as a human being, but he has to still be a Kamaneshi forever. But in that case, Suzume is playing a great role, because as much as I was telling you, Suzume is really brave, and she doesn't want to give up. She wants to save Sota, and she wants to find a way to take him back to what he was before, because that's not his place. He doesn't have to stay in the other dimension. He has to stay with her, because by spending the time with him, she understood that she cares about him more than ever, and she wants him to be part of her life, even after all these adventures. So she doesn't want to get rid of him, and is the one who is in charge to find a way to release him from the dimension, and to release him from the chair too, and become the Sota of before. So after the journey she is starting with the Sota as a chair, after Sota is confined inside the other dimension she also has to reach as a Kamaneshi, she is starting her journey with her aunt, that she finally reached her, and she was really afraid to lose her, because try to put yourself in her aunt's position, guys. She is supposed to be her second mom, and suddenly one day Suzume decides to start her journey without telling anything to her aunt about what was going on, and suddenly her aunt sees that her daughter is disappeared forever. Look, I would have felt scared too, so I understand her aunt so much. But they are not alone, because now there is another character that is playing a great role somehow, that is Sota's friend. First of all, I really like this character because he is really hilarious, and he is the funny part of this story. He is playing great sketches that you will definitely enjoy and you will laugh a lot. This friend of Sota is not asking lots of questions. He is just trusting Suzume, and he's meeting Suzume one day when she is inside Sota's apartment, because once they reach Tokyo, Sota wants to take her to apartment in order to understand more about what's going on, and in fact over there Sota is explaining his real job and why he's doing something like this, and why his job is connected to this evil energy that tries to go out from the doors, and he has to close the doors all the times with the key, etc, etc. I mean, he's explaining why these catastrophes happening in Japan are affecting even the energy that you can touch with your own hands. I mean, you can definitely feel that these catastrophes are letting all these people dying, but these people are still stuck in this dimension while they have to accept that they are gone, so they have to move on. But by the way, while yes, Suzume and Sota are in Tokyo trying to understand what was going on and trying desperately to find that cat, because the cat is the solution of everything, suddenly this friend of Sota is appearing in front of Sota's apartment, and when he is ringing the doorbell, he can't talk to Sota because Sota is a chair, so he is talking to Suzume, and Suzume at the beginning is trying to find some excuses because she doesn't want to explain anything to him. But later, little by little, you will understand that this is Sota's friend, especially when Sota is confined in the other dimension and he's seeing that Suzume is scared and she really wants to save his friend. He doesn't want to ask many questions. He prefers to trust this girl. And sometimes it happens even in real life. Sometimes when we find that a person has his or her own reason and he or she doesn't want to talk so much because you understand that these are things that are happening are difficult to be explained, you prefer to trust this person without asking. It's like as if our instinct is telling us that that person is true and we have to believe her, no matter the explanations or not, even if in most of the cases we need an explanation. But as soon as Sota's friend saw that the aunt was there, that Suzume's aunt was there, and she was also believing her, he said, okay, let me trust this girl too, because it means if her aunt is trusting her, why shouldn't I? This journey that they are making in order to reach Sota, because right now Sota, as much as I was telling you, is confined in this other dimension, and even if sometimes things are unexplainable, we are believing in them. Let me give you an example. God. We can't have a physical or a materialistic explanation of his existence, his or her existence, its existence, but there are people in the world who keep believing in it. So that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes, even if we don't see with our own eyes and we can't comprehend the explanation of what's happening, we trust, we believe, because something inside our heart tells us that we have to believe what we're doing, no matter if we see it or not. And that's why Sota's friend and Suzume's aunt decided to start this journey in which they are trying to find Sota. And how do they find Sota? Thanks to this Kamaneshi, thanks to this cat that finally can be found, but not because he wants to go against Suzume or against Sota, but because this cat is the key of everything. I mean, this cat together with another cat, look, now it's a little bit difficult for me to explain you the appearance of these other Kamaneshi, but let's say that there is a discussion suddenly between Suzume and her aunt, because her aunt at the beginning couldn't understand what was happening, and she's trying to ask Suzume to go back home because there is no other choice. We have to go back home and you have to follow me because I am like your mom and I am your guidance from now on, especially after your mother was gone. So you have to follow me. You have to go back home with me. There is no excuse. There is no explanation. I don't want to hear anything. Let's just go. But Suzume, in that moment, she is stronger than her and she is saying that she doesn't want to go home because something more important is dear to her over there. She needs to find it. She needs to find other answers, and that's why she can't go back home, because if she goes back home, it's like a sort of a failure because she started with good proposes, and if she goes back now, it means that she failed, that the mission was not fulfilled completely. Even if her aunt doesn't understand, at a certain point, she's like a sort of a possessed or something, and later I'm going to tell you by whom, but this aunt is turning really evil. She's saying, look, I wasted my life by going ahead with you, by taking care of you. I should have lived my life and stuff like this. And at a certain point, by looking at this scene, first of all, Suzume was petrified, but second of all, she was saying, who are you? Because she knows that her aunt would have never said something like this, because her aunt was really proud to be there to save her and to be there for her, especially after what happened to her mom, that she definitely couldn't have ever said something like this. And then we understand that behind her aunt there is another Kamaneshi, there is another big black cat that it's supposed to be the mom of that little white cat that you see even in the trailer, that is the first cat that we see even at the beginning of the movie. If I have to be honest with you, I didn't understand this also because later it was explained that these Kamaneshi are these guardians, as much as I was telling you before, but there was one guardian of the east side and one guardian of the west side. It's like these guardians were, yes, the protections of all these doors that should have been shut. I really like the moment in which Suzume is going against what other people are saying, because the most important thing is her. The most important thing is her finding the truth, her finding the final answer that she really needs in order to move on with her life. And little by little, okay, I'm not going ahead summarizing the movie because it's pointless, but what I wanted to explain you is what I really liked about this movie. And definitely the ending of the movie made me cry, sincerely, guys, because you understand that thanks to the will to reach Sota, and thanks to the help of others, she is trying to reach Sota to transform him back from a chair to a human figure. But at the same time, that specific chair that was the chair that her mother prepared as a birthday present for her was the key to or Sota himself was the key to reach her mom. Her mom that right now is finding herself in the other dimension, because even Suzume's mom represents one of these souls that were stolen because she died. And later, at the end of the movie, you understand how she died. Suzume's mother's soul is still stuck, and she needs to be released. She needs to move on. She needs to go away from Suzume, because let's say that this tormented soul, because that's how she died, is tormenting Suzume's too, because of these dreams that she's always having, because of the will that she needs to reach the goal, she needs to reach where her mom is, why she disappeared, etc., etc. So the moment in which she is reaching the place where Suzume was living before the disappearance of her mom, yeah, from that moment on, you see the beauty of this movie, in my opinion. I mean, even before, but the way in which Suzume is reaching the goal in that specific way that I'm about to tell you made me cry a lot. First of all, because she is reaching the place she lived before, and it's a way to go back in the past to face the truth in order to move on. And the second of all, when she's finding, because she digged underground in order to find the box that she left there before leaving with her aunt in Kagoshima, next to the place in which there was the great earthquake of 2011, and she is finding her notebook, and she was coloring it inside. I mean, she was treasuring some memories, she was writing things, she was making drawings, etc., etc. In one of the previous dreams in the movie, she saw that in 2 pages she was coloring all black. She was coloring these pages all black. So she thought, okay, that's just my dream, that's just a dream, it didn't happen for real. But when she's opening this notebook that is physically there, I mean, it's real, she's scrolling the pages and she's seeing that there are some drawings that she did with her mom, that there were happy drawings, but suddenly when she's turning one page, she's finding that everything was drawn black. And in that time, in that moment, Suzume understands that those were not just dreams, those were just an anticipation of reality, an anticipation of what she was about to do, what she was about to discover, and all those dreams that she was having, they were just the reflection of what really happened in the past. But the trauma that she had of the disappearance of her mom made her mind delete that part of the story. So that's why she kept dreaming all the times about this female figure with a chair next to her, or the paintings that were pitch black. But now that she had in front of her face the reality that happened for real, that she really drew 2 pages black, 2 and multiple other pages black, in that moment the trauma is gone. I mean, in that moment, it's like as if she can remember everything. It's like, yeah, as much as I was telling you, it's like when you have amnesia, and after you see a specific detail, after you see something that lets you understand that everything you have dreamt so far, that everything that you have experienced in your mind, it was not just a dream. It was not just because you were crazy. It happened, but it was a trauma, and it needed a step after step to be reached in order to be dissolved, in order to be clear once again. And the beauty of that moment, look guys, I started crying over there, because you understand finally that Suzume's mom disappeared that day because the tsunami of 2011 arrived, and she was dragged away. And the reason why the painting that Suzume drew was black, it's because it was representing the Black Wave. It was called the Black Wave even here in Japan in 2011 because that wave turned black as soon as it was crashing the buildings, as soon as it was crashing people and smashing houses. And look, it's called the Black Wave also because the water was getting in touch with the oil, and this combination was creating this black tone that was also called the Death Wave, because that pitch black color was spreading death. So Suzume's mom died because of the tsunami, and after she's recollecting all these memories inside of her head, she is finally able to confront the last part, the part in which she has to close that door once for all. But before closing it, she has to open it again. She has to jump right into this dimension, and she has to go there and save herself from these evil thoughts. Before doing this, I have to say that Sota is there. Sota is back as his human figure. And the reason why he is back like this is because she was able to rescue Sota. And I really like, yes, how courageous Suzume is, because once again, she's doing her best to reach Sota. She can't at the beginning, and she wants to force herself to reach that dimension that she can't, because of what I told you. Every time she's trying to cross that dimension, she can't, and she finds herself on the other side. So this way in which she's trying to save him, she can't, and then she is able to reach him, and she's going to release him thanks to this kiss that she's kissing the chair, because she is spreading these warm feelings. So this condition of freezing inside of Sota's heart is erased little by little. So this humanity is still there, because until there are feelings, humanity can't be gone. And all this beautiful portrait of this chair that is not frozen anymore, and it's back, and wow, I mean, the graphic, the meaningful themes is so important here in this movie. But jumping back at the end of the movie, because I want you to see the movie so you will understand what I mean. Yeah, by going back at the end of the movie, wow, I mean, Suzume is opening the door, is reaching these female tiny figure that is Suzume when she is young, and she's holding the chair because she's finally understanding why her mother died, why she disappeared. What was missing was to understand the reason why her mom left, and left her alone, even if she was desperately searching for her. She's reaching this little girl who's crying, who's screaming, "Mom, where are you? Mom, have you seen my mom? Have you heard my mom?" Look, I feel emotional even now, because I understand what happened 10 years, 11 years ago here in Japan. It was an immense catastrophe in which you could see babies crying because they couldn't find their parents. I mean, I thank Makoto to have used this story to represent this enormous pain that people felt when they couldn't find their dear people anymore. And it's so well represented that, look, I feel emotional just by saying it. By the way, there is in this other dimension the possibility for the adult Suzume to meet the young Suzume that is still trying to find her mom, and she doesn't understand why she is all alone. And there is this beautiful dialogue between the present and the past Suzume. To put it simply, Susume's, the adult Susume is telling the young Susume, Susume, you have to go ahead. You don't have to feel scared. You don't have to search for your mom anymore. Even if the little Susume keeps saying, no, I will keep searching my mom forever. Where is she? Did you see her? It's like me. It's a little bit having the hair shorter. I mean, she's describing her mom. But the adult Susume is saying you don't need to search her anymore, because if you keep searching her still and you keep going on like this, you will just feel pain. You will not go ahead. You have to face the truth. You have to understand that you don't have to be afraid to move forward, because there is always a new beginning. There is always a new day starting that is shining bright with this beautiful light. It was memorable, this dialogue, guys. I am crying even now that I'm saying it, because you understand that Susume, throughout all those years in which she was trying to find answers, she was deleting the possibility to go ahead. And she was stuck there. She couldn't move forward because of the tragedy that she has passed. Also because she's also saying that till that moment of recognition, she felt as if death was random, that it could happen to everyone. And that's why she was not feeling scared, because it already happened in her life to assist to a death, and she was not feeling anything anymore. It was like as if when you approach death, the death of a dear person, you are in a state of mind in which you don't want to live as before, because you think that you have lost your most important person, and you can't go ahead. You can't go on, because even if you try to go on, nothing will be the same. What Susume, the adult version, is saying to the little one is that you have to go ahead instead, because there will be always one thing happening in the future that can prove you wrong about finish your life, about living your life as if nothing can go back as the same as before. And there is always a new beginning. But before doing this, you have to close this chapter. Otherwise, you will never be able to go ahead. You will not be able to move forward. At the same time, Susume, the adult version, is understanding that when she was having those visions in those dreams of this female figure holding that chair, that was her from the future, trying to tell her the same things that she's saying right now to the little Susume. It's like as if these dreams that she was having were an anticipation of how this movie was ending, of this final dialogue between the two Susume, the past one and the present one. And when Susume is seeing that this adult Susume is holding that chair, she's surprised, because that chair is her chair, and the adult Susume is giving this chair to the little Susume and is saying, keep look ahead, Susume. And I really liked that moment, because it means, in my opinion, that even if her mom is gone, she still has something that can let her feel her mother's presence, and in this case is the chair, because that chair was made as one of her birthday presents, and her mom put all her effort, all her energy to make that chair. So instead of being stuck with bad memories, with bad moments, with the sadness, with the sorrow, you should try to convert these evil feelings into something good, into something that can remind you that that presence is still there. And it's thanks to that chair, because that chair was made by her mom as a birthday present. And everything makes you understand that that energy, positive energy, is still there, and it will never be gone until she wants, because until she will remember her mom, she will always be there. No matter if physically speaking she's gone and she can't find her anymore. So the good thing is that this little Susume is taking the chair, she's smiling, And before leaving, she's asking, "Who are you?" And this adult Suzume is saying, "Look, I am the Suzume of the future." And next to the Suzume of the future, there is Sota, because Suzume, the little Suzume, needs to understand that in the future she will not be alone, that she can find love once again, that the fact that she has to keep going on living, it's for a good purpose, because in the future she will find people who will love her, who will support her, who will make her happy again. So this is a tragedy that happened to her mom. It's not the end of her life. It's probably a beginning of something new. And even if a catastrophe can take you away something good, something dear to you, sometimes, even if it's something really bad to say, but sometimes that loss can help you to gain something else, can help you to gain something that was not possible to be gained if there was not this catastrophe. And I really liked that moment, because this, fortunately and finally, is the end of that chapter. And in fact, Suzume, after she goes back from this dimension, she's closing the door and she's using even the key, because that door will never be opened again. She found the peace of her mind in that moment, and she will never go back to those feelings, she will never go back to those thoughts, because now everything is clear to her. Her mother is gone physically speaking, she's still in her heart, she disappeared because of the wave of the tsunami, and all these doors have to be closed, because these doors are the portal of something negative, of something that has to go away more than ever. It's the portal of this evil energy that has to be taken away, as much as that catastrophe that took away lots of lives. In this case, Suzume has to step forward now. And the good thing is that now, more than ever, she knows that her life is more alive than ever, that she's still alive, that she can go ahead with Sota. And in fact, you see that they will stay together. And even if they separate for a little bit of time, he is promising her that he will be back. And in fact, at the end of the movie, you see that she is going back to Kagoshima while Sota is back to Tokyo, because he is attending university. And one day she is getting the same bicycle, and she is riding it until that usual and same slope that you see on the trailer. In the same moment, in the same way in which she was starting this movie, by riding the bicycle and going to school, that day she's riding the bicycle, she goes to school, and Sota kept the promise, because he is in front of her and he is back to stay with her. So that was amazing, the way in which, as much as I was telling you, if there was not that catastrophe of 2011, and if her mom didn't die, and if she didn't move to Kagoshima, she didn't stay with her aunt, and if that day she didn't ride the bicycle to go to school and she didn't meet Sota, nothing would have happened. Life could have taken another dimension, could have taken another path. But this happened, and this happened for a reason. All this is to help Suzume to go ahead and to start something new with the person she loves the most. That in this case is Sota, because it's thanks to Sota that anyway she could have reached the end of that evil chapter that had to be closed. So in this movie you see all these big themes: close a chapter before opening a new one, being able to move forward. Life is all an experience based on good and evil things, that we shouldn't give up if something bad happens to our life, but we should try to find all the answers we need before deciding to close the chapter in order to move forward. And we are not satisfied enough until we reach the end, until we reach our own satisfaction, that means all the answers we need. As much as the theme of the adventure, the theme to start a new journey that might seem dangerous, but we need to go ahead with our instinct, with what our mind is telling us, with what our heart is telling us, because we are both mind and heart, and we should follow both. We shouldn't follow just one. We should consider both, because that's a way in which we can find the answers. Suzume decided to follow her mind because she followed those dreams that they were telling her something, that they were telling her, look, we are waiting for you. We are waiting for you to find the answer. And Suzume is also instinct. She is following her heart by trying to save Sota, by trying to reach this immense goal that she has to reach, by making an adventure full of dangerous moments, maybe. She doesn't know, but she wants to try anyway, because the goal is more important than anything else. All these references of the shoes too, the fact that by saving Sota she's taking off her shoe because she lost another shoe while she was trying to reach him, because she reached that red thing while she was in Tokyo that was causing another earthquake, etc., etc. It's like as if the earthquake is the trauma for Suzume, because she lost her mom due to an earthquake and a tsunami coming after. So these evil thoughts that are always coming out from those doors are also the mirror of what her trauma is. And that's why she can see these things, I mean, these strange appearance, red appearance, and others don't, because that's her trauma, that's her thing, that's what she can see and others can't, because she has to solve all these and she has to reach the end of it. And when this trauma is well described, well analyzed throughout the movie, look, I really liked this movie, guys. I think that you should go and watch it, especially because for the first time, let me be honest with you, while in all the other movies of Makoto Shinkai, the most important thing was to create this relationship between the male character and the female character, the way in which they had to stay together, connected by destiny. Okay, yes, it's happening a little bit even here in this movie, but the most important thing is to focus on Suzume, to focus on her journey, to focus on her experience, to focus on this relationship, mother and daughter, that is creating something amazing, because everything is inside Suzume's mind, but at the same time it's also represented through actions. The way in which Makoto Shinkai for the first time is focusing on one character, and this character is this girl who's desperately trying to move forward and to reach the goal that she has to reach. I really liked how she was described. I really liked the way in which she's facing her trauma and she's going ahead. I like the way in which in this movie the main protagonist is this great relationship, because mother and daughter can have a special connection even after death, and I still believe this. So the way in which even Makoto, I think, can relate to this, because he is a father, because he is growing older, and he knows that sooner or later he has to face death too, that he is leaving behind his kids. And I think that in this movie you can find something autobiographical too, because it's reflecting even the fears of a parent. Because, look, I think Susume's mom was feeling scared in the moments that she lost her life, and she was deeply thinking about Susume. That's what Makoto can think by being a parent. I think that he can also reflect himself to the fears of his kids in the case a catastrophe can happen once again. So I think that in this movie you can even find some thoughts from Makoto too. Yes, Sota is really important as a character because he helped Susume to reach what she had to reach, and he was the key of the destiny. Yes, we can say something like this too. But Sota was not the main protagonist. Sota was not the relationship connected to Susume, the relationship that we have to focus on. In this movie, we have to focus on Susume, and we have to focus on her journey that is also helped by others, but it's her journey, her consciousness, her feelings, her acknowledgement, her development as a character that is necessary in order to reach the end of the movie. So thank you so much, Makoto Shinkai. I really loved this movie, and I hope that from now on his tastes are changing, taking this path, because they are deeper, they are well described, the dialogues are intense. The music was playing a great role too. I really like the soundtrack for this movie, and you need to know that Red Wimps made another song even for this movie that you're about to hear at the end of the movie while there is the outro. I think that all the small details, even this key that is important to close, usually we use the key to open the door, but in this movie you use it to close the door. That it's something unusual, something really beautiful, something unseen. Yes, in this movie you don't see just the key that Sota is using in order to close the door, but even when Susume wants to go and save Sota, you see the door closing with the key that she's using of the apartment of Sota. You see even at the end of the movie Susume that is closing the door of her aunt because a new day is starting. She has to reach the school, so she's ready to ride the bicycle and to meet Sota once again. So as you can see, this door and this key that is closing the door, that means okay, another day is starting, a new beginning is starting, and what was yesterday was yesterday. Today is another day, and we have to live this new day as if it's the last one, as if it's something that doesn't matter with what happened yesterday, because yesterday is yesterday and today is today. So we have to live the present. We have to focus more on the present without being attached to the nightmares of the past, without being connected to the ghosts of the past, because the past is anyway gone. And even if we try to think about it, or if we feel nostalgic about these things that are happening in the past, yes, it can happen, but we should remind ourselves that we can't be stuck in the past. We have to live the present, because the present is yesterday's future. And we have to keep looking at the future, to build something new, to go ahead with the possibility we have to create something great. Because if we lose these chances by being attached to the past, our life is going to be spent by looking at yesterday. And this is something that can't happen, because we have one life, we have one chance to live it. And if we don't live it now that it's happening, we are going to regret it. And that's why Susume can't regret anymore. She lost years and years attached to those dreams, attached to the past, attached to a condition that was let her feel stuck. But now it's time to live her life. It's time to go ahead. And Sota is that plus that she needed in her life. And even the cats, their meanings, that even the fact that the black cat was the mother of the little white cat, this way to represent this connection, mother and daughter, not just through human beings but even through animals, that I really appreciated. And even this connection to the abandoned places, because we need to remember that when we see an abandoned place, we need to know that behind that place there is a story, and we should be respectful to that. That's why I like abandoned places, because I know that over there is a background, a story, that we should know that there were people living there were people living a part of them there, and we don't know if that abandoned place is abandoned because of a catastrophe, because of other circumstances, because death was there meeting those people who left that place abandoned. But no matter what, that place smells of the people who lived there and of the stories that were over there. The way in which Makoto was playing a great respect, not just to the abandoned places themselves, but to the people who were there before what happened. Those people are going, and you don't know, but by looking at these scenes, you know that they will never come back. That when they say "Ittekimasu," you don't know if you are going because then you're able to come back or not. And this represents also the fragility of human beings, because we as human beings don't have a power. We just have to live our life at the fullest, because we don't know what can happen tomorrow to us. That's why the message of this movie is to live the present and create something beautiful in the present, without thinking so much about the future, without thinking so much about the past. It's now. The moment is now. Okay guys, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for joining me in this long video in which I was telling you my thoughts. Sorry, look, I didn't want to follow the story scene after scene as much as I was doing in the past, because the most important thing is what I felt about this movie, how I felt, how it gave me great vibes, and I suggest you to go and watch Suzume no Tojimari, because this is another Makoto Shinkai. This is a new style. This is something that it's not always the same thing, in which you don't understand where he wants to go. No, in this movie it's clear where he wants to go, where he wants to take you. So I really hope you will enjoy this movie, and I hope that you will be able to watch it at the cinema, because everything is different. And hope you enjoyed, and keep subscribing to the channel, because there will be many other videos like these in the future. So feel free to follow me, and thank you so much for the support as always. Bye guys, see you in the next video.